Opposition to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's regime started on the streets in March 2011. Many people paid with their lives for demanding change and reform. 4 months later, it was no longer a non-violent struggle. The people fought back. Then came the first attempt not just to form a political leadership, but a political body to represent the grassroots movement. The Syrian National Council was born in August 2011. But it didn't take long for internal rifts to emerge. It wasn't just that. The council failed to connect with the protesters on the streets. The West grew impatient and asked for a leadership that could speak to every segment and every geographic part of Syria.
We've made it clear that the SNC can no longer be viewed as the visible leader of the opposition. They can be part of a larger opposition, but that opposition must include people from inside Syria and others who have a legitimate voice that needs to be heard.
So in November 2012, the Syrian National Coalition was founded in Doha. It was considered to be a more representative body. Groups from inside Syria as well as the Free Syrian Army were included. It got international support. During the Friends of Syria meeting in Morocco, it was recognized as the legitimate representative of the opposition. Despite this, the coalition faced the same problems as the council. According to its first elected leader, Muaz al-Khatib, the SNC was influenced by international and regional powers. He stepped down in protest a few months after taking office. And yet again, the politicians in exile failed to get support inside Syria and didn't lead.
To a certain extent, the division among the Syrian opposition gave the regime a lifeline. The failure of the opposition's political leadership to unite the armed groups on the ground and bring it under its wing created a vacuum, and that void led to a new war.
A war against the armed group Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant within the rebel-controlled north of Syria. The lack of leadership allowed al-Qaeda-linked groups to grow in strength. That, in turn, affected Western support for the rebels and intensified efforts to find a political settlement. It was after much reluctance and resignations, as well as international pressure, that the SNC decided to attend the so-called Geneva II conference. Boycotting the talks would have risked losing support from the West. Attending risks undermining whatever legitimacy it has left inside Syria, especially if nothing is achieved. They don't have much to fall back on. On the ground, the regime has the upper hand, and it has repeatedly said it is not handing over power. This could be the SNC's last chance to assert itself politically, because until now, it is the groups with the guns who have the influence on the ground. Zeina, Khodr, Jazeera, Beirut.